Alright, section 2.3, we are going to discuss how to solve literal equations and formulas. Before we start, let's have some preliminaries. If we have 1/4 x, we can write x as x over 1, and then we can just multiply 1 by x divided by 4 times 1. So you will have 1x over 4. And further, we can simplify 1 over 1 times x as x. So 1/4 x can be written as x over 4. 2/3 of ABC, again, we can write ABC as ABC over 1. And then we can multiply 2 times ABC, that's 2ABC in our numerator, divided by 3 times 1, which is 3. So if we have 2/3 of our ABC, we can write this as 2ABC divided by 3. If I have 2x plus 4y divided by 2, everything was divided by 2, we can separate our numerator as 2x over 2 plus 4y over 2. And then we can simplify our first fraction, x, because we can cancel 2. And then 4 divided by 2 is just equal to 2 times y. Finally, if I have 2x plus 3y over 2, again, we can separate our numerator into 2x over 2 plus 3y over 2. Now, in our first fraction, we can cancel 2 and 2 here. We'll end up getting x plus 3y over 2. We don't need to simplify 3 over 2 and write it as 1.5 times y. We can just stop here and write x plus 3y. So when we are solving literal equation, we would like to isolate the variable that we would like to solve. In this case, the result that we are going to get is not a number. Compared to an equation, when you solve for an equation, the result of the variable is equal to a number. But for literal equation, the result will be equal to an expression. We will not be able to simplify the expression because it consists of numbers and variables. So let's have our first example here. We need to solve for a. So I'm going to solve for a here. So first I'm going to cover our 2a, and then I'm going to remove our plus 2b. Now this one is positive, so we have to use the inverse for this, which is minus 2b to both sides. And then we will be able to cancel 2b and minus 2b using our additive inverse. Now note that c minus 2b are not like terms, so we cannot combine them, but we can just write this one as c minus 2b equals 2a. Now note that we would like to isolate our a. We don't need our 2 here. So this is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So when you divide 2 to both sides, you'll end up getting c minus 2b divided by 2 equals a. Or using our symmetric property, I can rewrite this as a equals capital C minus 2b divided by. Alright, your turn. I need you to pause the video and solve for z for this given literal equation. The answer that you're going to get is z equals capital X minus 2y divided by 7. For the next literal equation, again, I need you to pause the video and solve for the variable y. The answer that you're going to get is y equals 10 minus ax divided by b. Alright, let's solve this next question. So I'm going to solve for x. It means that I need to isolate x. The rest should be on the right side of our equation. Alright, first, note that we have here minus 5y. So the first step that we're going to do is add 5y to both sides. Okay, we can cancel negative 5y and 5y using our additive inverse. Now 12 plus 5y, these two are not like terms, so we can just write 12 plus 5y. Bring down your 8x. Divide by 8 both sides. Using our multiplicative inverse, we can now cancel 8 and 8 here. We'll have x equals 12 plus 5y, everything divided by 8. Now we can stop here and say this is now our final answer. Or we can further proceed by separating our numerator using the denominator 8. And then we can further divide 12 by 8 or simplify 12 over 8 as 3 over 2. So we can have this also as our final answer. Alright, again, pause the video and solve for x. Alright, I'll walk you through on how to solve this literal equation. So we are solving for x here. So first, I have 3y, and that's positive 3y. I have to remove 3y here first by subtracting 3y to both sides. We can cancel this, and then 7 minus 3y, bring down your negative x. So be careful with this term, because some students tend to forget to bring down the negative sign. We are not yet done here. Note that we need our x to be isolated. We don't need the negative sign here. So what we need to do is to divide both sides by negative 1. So negative x over negative 1 is equal to positive x. Now 7 minus 3y over negative 1. What we need to do here is to separate our numerator. 7 over negative 1, negative 3y over negative 1. So 7 over negative 1 is equal to negative 7, and negative 3y over negative 1 is equal to positive 3. And then we are going to write this as 3y minus 7. And this will be our answer. Again, pause the video and solve for this equation. The answer that you're going to get is x equals 7 plus 4y divided by 2, or 7 over 2 plus 2y.
Let's solve for x given this literal equation. So first, I'm going to subtract 8y to both sides. This will cancel out. I will have here negative 4x. Note these two are not like terms, so you will have 12 minus 8y. Divide by negative 4 to both sides. This will cancel out. We'll get 12 minus 8y divided by negative 4. Again, we are going to separate our numerator. So 12 over negative 4, negative 8y over negative 4. Now 12 over negative 4 is negative 3. Negative 8y over negative 4 is equal to positive 2y. And then, using our commutative property, I can write this one as 2y minus 3.
Alright, for this next question, I need you to pause the video and solve for y.
So this will be the answer that you are going to get. Alright, let's have another example. Suppose that we have here the formula for the volume of a right cylinder. Now, let's say we would like to solve for the height.
So note that I have here pi times r squared times h. So what you need to do here is to use the inverse of multiplication, which is division. So we are going to divide both sides by pi r squared.
Next, we can cancel our pi here. R squared. We will get v divided by pi r squared equals h. So this is now our formula if we are going to isolate our h. Again, we can rewrite our answer as h equals v divided by pi r squared using our symmetric property. Our next example. Let's say we would like to solve for b. Now note that my 2x plus b here is being divided by 5. So we have to remove our 5 first. So first, I need to multiply both sides by 5. And then 5 here will cancel out. I will have 5y equals 2x plus b. Next, I am going to subtract 2x to both sides. And then we'll have 5y minus 2x.
Alright, next example. Temperature is given either Fahrenheit or Celsius. So this is the formula for Fahrenheit. Now suppose we would like to solve this formula and solve for Celsius. So we need to isolate our C. First, what we need to do here is to subtract 32 to both sides. This will cancel out. We'll have here f minus 32 equals 9 over 5c. Now I have to remove 9 over 5 here.
So I have to remove our 9 over 5 here. First, I would like to get rid of our denominator 5. So we are going to multiply both sides by 5. Note that I wrote 9 over 5c as 9c over 5. Multiplying 5 to both sides, note that I put a parenthesis here. When we multiply 5 to both sides, we have to make sure that everything here will be multiplied by 5.
If we are not going to put the parentheses, it will just be the f that will be multiplied by 5. That's why it's very important for us to put the parentheses. Now we can cancel 5 and 5.
Then, to get rid of 9, we need to divide 9 to both sides. And we'll end up getting 5 times f minus 32 over 9. Or, we can also write this as 5 over 9 times f minus 32. Alright, for our next example, we have the formula for the volume of a pyramid. Now, let's say we would like to solve for the base of the pyramid. I'm going to write 1/3 base times height.
As base times height divided by 3.
Note that in our preliminaries, we said that 1/3 base times height can be written as 1/3 base times height over 1, and then we can multiply 1 times base times height. That's just 1bh divided by 3, or simply bh over 3. So I'm going to rewrite this into this format. Next, I have to get rid of our denominator 3 here. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3, cancel this one out, bring down 3v equals bh. Next, to solve for b, I have to remove h. Note that we have a multiplication between base and the height. So the opposite of multiplication is division. And then we'll end up getting b equals 3v divided by h. Alright, another example. Let's say we would like to solve for x. Alright, for this example, I need you to pause the video and solve for x. So the answer that you're going to get here is 4v divided by y squared z equals x. Okay, what about if we have exponents? What will be the inverse of exponent 2 and exponent 3? Then the inverse of the exponent 2 is the square root, and the inverse of the exponent 3 is the cube root. So let's apply that concept in solving this equation. Suppose we would like to solve for y. So again, we are going to rewrite this. I can write this one as 1 times xy squared z over 4 times 1. We are going to get xy squared z times 1 divided by 4 times 1 is 4. And then 1 times this will just be equal to xy squared z over 4. So we can rewrite this into this format. Next, we are going to multiply both sides by 4. Y squared is being multiplied to x and being multiplied to z. So we have to use the inverse of the multiplication, which is division. So I divided both sides by xz. X will cancel out, z will cancel out. Now I need to isolate my y. I have to remove the exponent 2 here. Remember that the inverse of the exponent is the square root. So taking the square root of both sides, this will cancel out. We'll get y equals square root of 4v divided by xz. Alright, your turn. I need you to solve all of these 3 questions. I need you to pause the video and solve the following problems. This will be the answer for the first problem. This will be the answer for the second problem. And for the third question, this will be the answer. Alright, let's have our next example. Let's solve for this equation for x. Okay, first I have to subtract 15 to both sides. Cancel this one out. Y minus 15 equals 2/3 x. Now I can rewrite this as 2x over 3. Multiply 3 to both sides. Now again, I put the parentheses here to indicate that the left side, the entire left side, was multiplied by 3. Now this will cancel out. We'll get 3 times the quantity y minus 15 equals 2x. And then divide by 2 both sides. We'll get this. So this will be our answer. Or if you want, write this as 3 over 2 times the quantity y minus 15. Okay, next example. Now suppose we would like to solve for y. Now I will show you 2 different ways on how to solve this type of problem. First method is we are going to distribute our a to the quantity y plus 1. So a times y is equal to a y, and then a times 1 will be equal to a. Next, we are going to subtract a to both sides. B minus a cannot be simplified because these two are not like terms. So we can just write b minus a. And finally, divide a to both sides. We're going to get b minus a divided by a. Another way is to divide by a both sides. So this will cancel out. We'll get y plus 1 equals b over a. Subtract 1 to both sides. We'll get b over a minus 1. Now, if we are going to combine a fraction and a whole number, make sure that you have a common denominator. So if I'm going to rewrite 1 as a over a, so that we'll have the same denominator with the b minus a, or b over a, we will have b over a minus a over a. So b over a minus a over a. Now, since you have the same denominator, you will have now b minus a over a. So we end up getting b minus a over a, which is the same answer that we got earlier. For this next question, I need you to pause the video and solve for x. So the answer that you're going to get will be d minus 20w divided by 2w. Our last example. Given s equals 8x plus 2ex, let's say we would like to solve for x. Note that for this particular problem, we have two x's. And our goal here is to isolate our x. So if you're solving for a variable and that variable exists in a given problem more than once, what you have to do is to simplify the equation so that the two x's will become. So how are we going to do that? Note that if I'm going to undistribute our x, we will end up getting x times 8 plus 2e. Note that these two equations are the same. 8x came from 8 times x. 2ex can be derived from 2e times x if we are going to distribute x to this given quantity, 8 plus 2e. Now, once we undistribute x, note that the two x's here became just this expression x. So now, we can now isolate this x. So next step is to divide both sides by 8 plus 2e. Cancel this one out. We'll get s over 8 plus 2e equals x. Or you can write your answer as x equals s over 8 plus 2e. Alright, there you go. That's your video 2.3, solving literal equations.